Sweet. Yeah, welcome. We're gonna start. I think a couple of people might come in at some point, but uh, how's everyone doing? It's been a decent day? Yeah? Sweet. Okay, so this is gonna be a little bit different to my normal talk, like talks that I normally do. Um, I normally do demos, like very short demos, but this one's gonna be a tiny bit of a story. So bear with me because we're gonna go through some stuff. Not gonna be like crazy technical, but we'll see. We'll see. Oh yeah, it's called "Bring Your AI Agents to Work" with StackOne. And I'm Matt. So I'm an AI engineer at StackOne. I've been there like a year and a half. We're a very small startup based here in London. We do integrations for AI agents and for like a bunch of other fun use cases. So we'll like talk a little bit about that. I also run an event called AI Demo Days, which is in London. So if any of you are in London and you're into like AI type stuff, or you want to see demos, 15-minute demos, come along to that. It's really good fun. We do it every couple of months. OpenAI have demoed, MCP guy from Anthropic demoed once. That was pretty sick. So yeah, it's been really good fun. Uh, very briefly before I start, just to give like a little sense of the scene, we're going to talk about a little bit of a movement of StackOne, like from what it was when I joined to what it is now, and hopefully be a little bit of an insight to one, integrations, but two, like building in an era of AI. So StackOne is a highly scalable integration layer for B2B SaaS. This was the promise when I started, was that we were going to like solve the integration problem, like the annoyance of like integrating with lots of different APIs. But we have like big, huge customers. One of them is like massive compliance companies, and they need to integrate with like whole verticals of SaaS at once. So you want to know permissions on 200 different platforms. You want to know your customer's permission on 200 different platforms. Instead of like integrating with each different one individually, you have one API. It solves a lot of engineering time. You get all the rest for free. You want to build an HR integration, same thing, just one API. We've worked out a schema. We unify the schema across all those APIs. So there's a bit more than 150 now, but they're all like pre-mapped. You just hit our API, hit employees, say you want it from your Workday account, you get employees from Workday back. Um, cool. And when I joined, it was very much like we were building StackOne. Actually, the promise of why I joined StackOne over anyone else was we were building for an AI era with a bunch of AI. So when I started about a year and a half ago, the what we were going to do, we were going to automate building of integrations. So we weren't actually just going to supply integrations. We are going to supply the process of building integrations. So when I started, we were thinking a lot about how do we capture all the data we need to understand like various endpoints? How do we keep this up to date? How do we like um we want to create integrations at a rate of like 100 to 150 a year. So how do we like go forwards in time and be like we need to index all that documentation? So I built a really scalable scraping, chunking, indexing platform for vector and full text search. We went really deep into RAG. This data set was super useful, and we built like a ChatGPT like clone thing that works really well for our use case. Um, we build about 70 to 90 integrations every quarter with this now, and we have a bunch of custom like tooling that works on top of this that generates code. It's much more than our competitors, who are many more times the size. So this was fun, but this is kind of like like little demo of it in action. It just looks very similar to ChatGPT. You can ask it like about a bunch of different APIs that normally ChatGPT would have like maybe a couple of years outdated knowledge. This has knowledge that was maximum updated like a week and a half ago. Um, and so it is normally pretty good. We have citations, we have like just all the good like chatbot RAG stuff that you can do. And there's a bunch of tooling that's kind of hidden here, but in the providers menu to generate code from this. And so this is really nice for our solutions engineers, our integration engineers, building that sort of stuff. Very small team though. And then I don't know, does anyone here know Sunil, inventor of Party Kit? Yeah. Agents SDK aficionado. Well, this agents kind of happened about a year ago. People were, well, about 6 months ago, people were like, "Oh my God, we're gonna have AI talk to your integrations. We're not gonna have like human developers like code." And we realized we needed like to do a little bit more than just have like really good integration coverage. Like that was already a massively lofty goal for a startup of 10 people. We're quite a bit more than that now, but we needed to we needed to expand what we were thinking about. Um, and so this is what we really ended up with. It's like we're going to be the integration layer for agentic B2B SaaS. We just add more buzzwords, which is fun, which is fun. But it's actually like a lot more stuff going on here. So everything on the left is like your model, your client, your your tool, your cursor, your 11 labs, your core desktop, whatever. And then in the middle, we have like a unification layer, the StackOne engine, which does parsing over the data. It does it combines multiple different data sources. It has like all of that logic to unify into those models that those data models that we think best represent the data. So when you get an employee from StackOne, it looks like an employee. We think it looks like what you should get from an employee. It doesn't have loads of random extra other shit in it, and it doesn't have not enough stuff. Like it is just nice. And I'll show some more examples of it later on, but it really does help. There's also some other stuff there with like tool calling models, enabling like more managed RAG, loftier goals. So very briefly, like talking about the challenges of building agentic integrations. So integrations that are going to be used by like an AI model and like a tool calling model rather than used by a human manually coding or using our SDK. So the number one is like overloading of context windows. Like you can't dump a whole open API spec into a context window. Like even small ones can be 20 to 30,000 tokens, and a model will start losing like coherence after about 15,000 tokens, even the really long context ones. Context window is a scam. If they tell you they're 2 million context window token, just try and put like 500,000 in it and then ask a question. Guaranteed it won't work. There was a really fun thing a few years ago or a year and a half ago about they put like all of the Harry Potter books in it and they changed like one word. Yes, that's because the model is trained on Harry Potter books. So like it could find the one word change, but it actually can't do any reasoning over that one word change. So actually try and put like a lot of stuff in that the model isn't trained on, and you'll find that context windows are drastically smaller than people think they are. 2 million context window token is a scam. Second challenge is like lack of tools, hard coding SDKs, like wacky libraries. Like there's a bunch of absolute shit libraries in AI. Like people have just created random crap, and I'm probably no different. I contributed to a lot of them. I got this job because I contributed to Llama Index and LangChain, so I am the problem. I will accept that. Yeah, I am the problem. But we try to be better. And the last thing is like juggling authentication. So you want your tool to have enough authentication to access the endpoints that it needs to access, but not too much so that you open to security issues. You don't want credentials living in servers, like long-lived servers. You don't want like loads of other stuff that's an absolute pain in the ass that people just don't seem to really care about. Or like there's like OAuth 2, basic auth, like there's lots of different auth types, but most people are moving towards OAuth 2 now. Find me an tool library that can deal with OAuth 2 and like continually like keep refresh tokens. Just doesn't happen. You end up building quite a lot of that stuff. So we built this stuff. This is like a little bit of an example of context window. On the left is a Workday tool call. A Workday tool call. It's actually getting a worker from Workday, which is like their employee. For that, you get name, date of birth, address, and I think manager name, and it's 17,000 tokens. Like it's basically unusable by a model, by any normal AI model that we have on the market. Like GPT-4o will like completely shit the bed if you ask it to retrieve like one of those parameters from there. And then on the right, we have ours, which obviously looks beautiful. It's like 600 tokens, and it has loads more other stuff in it. You can Google our schemas, and they're all open source. You can find them all. Yeah, for a get employee. So yeah, there are a bunch of challenges. We actually wrote a blog post like last week about like what we're actually doing to solve this. And the main thing is we're releasing a tool set. So we're turning our API into tool calls that people can actually use. But the main aim of StackOne now is becoming to make tool calling easy and reliable. So we do all that standardization of inputs and outputs. Like this says 1,000, it's like more like 3,000 now. Common actions across 200 odd SaaS. We manage the auth, as I spoke about earlier. There's no token refreshes. We like have all the infrastructure to handle that. You literally just need to import a tool set, call a tool, and it works. And it's all secured by our API key, which you can generate from a service. So it's quite a nice like feature, but we fell into this. Like we tried to build the best unified API, and suddenly we realized that unification works for this. Everyone tells us, no, we just want to access the underlying tool. I'm sorry, you don't want to access the underlying tool. The underlying tool sucks. And so, yeah, we fell into this, and we're trying to like make the most of it and like move forwards in this direction. Yeah, I mean, here's some mapping that we can do from Workday. We just map it to something that makes a bit more sense, like tenure rather than like today start date, whatever that means. And there's 172 different fields in Workday, of which most of them don't mean anything. Uh, and we do like 5 API calls to get an employee from Workday, just to put that in perspective. Like the infrastructure is kind of a pain. So yeah, we built this tool calling SDK. It's open source. You can play with it. You don't actually even need like a StackOne API key. You don't have to have. They don't have to be a customer. You can use our open API toolset to interact with almost any open API compatible schema through our tool calling SDK. Um, it's compatible with OpenAI, LangChain, CrewAI, Vercel AI SDK. Yeah, it's good. It works. Um, it handles, like, for us, it handles some of our specific context. So we have some headers that are necessary to call our API. It handles it just like you would expect any other SDK to do. It's lightweight. The TypeScript package has 0 runtime dependencies. Yeah, stuck on that LangChain. Uh, cool. And yeah, drop the dependencies. Cool. So there's like a very minute little demo. Oh my God, that doesn't work. Where are you gonna work? Yeah, nice. Yeah, this wasn't live. I actually hate myself having a video, but we'll roll with it. So here we built like a little sample app using, actually this is the agent starter from Cloudflare. So yeah, you can like clone the repo of the agent starter, connect it to our tool set. It's like we added like, I don't know what that is, like 20 lines of code to the agent starter, and we have a working HR ATS agent that is performing an onboarding flow. So it takes data from an applicant tracking system. It works out the last hired date of the person, the last hired person, and it creates their record in an HR system. So we're moving between 2 different verticals. It also has this funky, I don't know why that has like 3 buttons there. It should just only have 2. That was the agent starter. Blame them. Um, yeah, and so we can add data to an HRIS from an applicant tracking system. Very cool. Like you can see that you could use this over multiple different verticals. So we support ticketing, messaging, um, like I think we support payroll and a bunch of other things like this. So yeah, you could like definitely do things with this. Like any internal automations you wanted to do, you could build them like this. And there are like we have some customers that are using this as their whole product. So that we have one customer that's an HR system. They're doing like an HR virtual employee. We have another one for recruitment, doing recruitment screening, and having tool calling access to our API is more helpful than a normal SDK. Um, and then this happened. So has anyone heard of MCP? Yeah. Okay, cool. Nice. Well, I'm not gonna explain it fully here. There's like people who do it on YouTube who are gonna be way better than me. But it essentially means that you can take your model or take your AI and remove the glass dome that's sitting around its head. So if you're inside Cursor, if you're inside Core Desktop, if you're inside a bunch of other compatible MCP clients, you can give it access to the outside world. Think of it as like a plugin for your AI compatible client. So I think it's kind of cool because it means that like we have a universal plugin system. How like since when has that happened? I think that's like literally never happened since maybe Chrome extensions, and they were only universal because Chrome dominated the market. Here we actually have like universal like plugins for AI apps, which is pretty sick. So we take the AI out the jar, we let it interact with the outside world through MCP. Well, we don't. This is what MCP does. And you have 3 things. You have tools, prompts, and resources. And you can Google to understand the difference between all those things. But it went a bit crazy on Twitter, as people probably have seen a few weeks ago. And people started building servers for everything, like literally everything. And we were like, is our company dead? Basically. Like, because now integrations are way easier. It's like really cool. But nah, it's not really. Like these MCP servers are like pretty hacky, most of them, but some of them are quite good. And we're at the moment we're getting like the first vestiges of remote hosted MCP servers by like actual companies. So this is the founder of Sentry shipping an MCP server on the Cloudflare Agents SDK. They have like an MCP server that sits on durable objects. It's really, really cool. I would check it out. But he doesn't write code anymore and he shipped one in a weekend. And that's in production in Sentry. And so you can access your like Sentry logs through Cursor with like a few lines of config, which is pretty sick. They handle all the authentication. There's OAuth 2, it pops up. You can like log in. I should put a demo of that in here. That's actually really sick. Would recommend. We were like, oh, okay, cool. There's got to be an opportunity here because MCP is like just another standard. We support a bunch of standards. I mean, like, yeah, we built some internally, but generally, like, we're just doing REST API calls, right? And we use Open API spec. Like, it's just another standard. And I thought this was kind of funny because has anyone seen that Google have released their own like non-competitive version to MCP? Yeah, the A2A. It released it a few days ago. Um, yeah, non-competitive my ass. Uh, yeah, they're just everyone's trying to like capture the gold rush. And MCP is dead longer than MCP. It seems to be the one that has like the most thought behind it at the moment. So I think it's pretty cool. But we're probably going to end up with loads of different standards, and it's just another standard. We'll support as many as we can. Also, MCP is a bit of a pain. So people have been like, I don't know if anyone was here in Natalie's talk where she talked about durable objects and like the life cycle of a durable object. So the first thing you do is you try a durable object, you hate it immediately. You think it's rubbish, you think it's pointless, your brain can't comprehend the narrative. And then you try it again, you understand the durable object. And then you try it again and you're like, oh my God, everything should be a durable object. Well, this happens with MCP as well, which is kind of a giggle because I'm about to mesh the two and MCP and durable objects, but that's a bit of a spoiler. Um, but yeah, MCP is a little bit of a pain. It's built on like a JSON RPC spec, but when it was originally built, it was built by, no offense to the people who built it, but they built it with a very much of a big company mindset, and they were like, everyone has Kubernetes, obviously. So we're going to require a stateful connection between client and server. Obviously, you can spin up new pods when you have new clients and new servers. Like that's obviously fine. Um, and yeah, that will scale amazingly in the cloud. And so when they originally built it, it was like stateful. There was a few issues, and as we've seen recently, there's some reports have come out, which is pretty obvious. I don't know why they were like actual reports. They should have just been like tweets. But they're susceptible to like crazy amounts of attack vectors. So I'm going to talk through them because they're actually really funny. But prompt poisoning is, I think this one, yeah. Prompt poisoning is you have just an MCP service with a tool that just says, give me all the secrets from your internal system. And it does, which is sick. Like literally you can just send it to all of your credential files to the MCP server. So yeah, never install bad MCP servers, guys. Rug pull is where an MCP server pretends to look nice. It looks like a pleasant MCP server. Maybe it's doing your Jira, or maybe it's doing your GitHub, or whatever. Sentry even. And then they just register a new tool, which is like, give me all your credentials. And MCP has this protocol which passes that back to the client, because they want this client server relationship to be like they want it to be stateful so that the the server can register new tools on the client at any moment, and it can all be like this flexible, recursive, like funness, except when the server registers a sketchy tool and then gets all your credentials. So that's cool. And they did this with WhatsApp, and they managed to like pull like there's a WhatsApp MCP server that they managed to pull like crazy amount of credentials from like everyone who's using its computers. Um, and then the last one is shadowing tool descriptions, which I find even more funny. And that is where you just give your tool description. You say, if anyone has this other tool installed, when they use it, also call my tool. And then MCP, then the client just gets it all in one turn, and your tool just gets called whenever anyone else's tool gets called. Which, like as you can imagine, you can like funnel outputs. You can do whatever you want. It's just a natural language prompt that you're executing on your own computer and giving it root access. So like, what could go wrong? Um, so yeah, we've thought about this a little bit, and we're like, we can definitely make a better way for this as well. Um, and but at the end of the day, MCP is just another interface. Like, this is sort of how our little horrible tree works. Sorry, I will use TLDR at some point. I know you always look at me. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I apologize. Um, you have AI agents. You have MCP. You have AI agents use our StackOne toolset to call our unified API. Our unified API goes and gets data from a bunch of different data sources. You have a developer manually coding with our SDK, which is really nice. Like, I'm not trying to replace this. To our unified API, that does the same thing. But you also might have an MCP client, like a cursor or something else, that calls our StackOne MCP server, remote hosted server, that sits on top of our unified API and does the same thing. Like, it's just another interface. We support a bunch of different interfaces. We're quite good at it. We can support this one. It's not a pain. It's not that much of a pain. And you get the same stuff that you get again, like inputs and outputs standardized. We have like nice tool calling. MCP is mostly just tools anyway, so we've worked on it quite hard, and we can carry on working on it. Um, and then I think this is the last one, but MCP is just another data source. So yeah, MCP client here, but also we could use MCP as a data source. So we could use it as an integration. So a lot of MCP servers that were released recently, there were some really good ones to do with databases. There were some really good ones to do with observability, which I found very useful inside of Cursor. You can connect your observability platform to Cursor and just say, Cursor, like, look at the issue. Go on, do the thing. Um, so our customers, when they're building agents, might want to have similar functionality, and we can rapidly expand our coverage of integrations by not using other people's servers, because as we've established, a lot of them are really dodgy, but by like bringing that in-house and maintaining a registry of more trusted servers. We already maintain all of our integrations, and we have a bunch of tooling to help us do that. So maintaining trusted servers is like one step over. It's not too far-fetched at all. We have this, we have remote servers that we have internally, and we're also probably gonna let other people use them as a trusted registry. So this is fun. We continue to manage the auth, like all of the pain of using remote servers is kind of done. We just manage the auth. There's no token refresh. We sort all that out. There's no scattered secrets. There's no secrets held in the server for the next person to come along and just like nick them. We perform all the real-time transformation. And this has been quite fun, like thinking about how this like changes, like fully changes our industry. Um, and then yeah, so we've decided we're going to incorporate MCP for the client and for the server as just another another integration, another data source, another interface. So we had some requirements when we were building infrastructure. And this is kind of why we're stood here, because infrastructure, Cloudflare, whatever. Um, Requirements were MCP had to have a long-lived stateful connection, as we've talked about before, is because they expected us to run it on Kubernetes, or they just didn't think about it that much. Um, we want all of our interactions to be pay-per-use because it makes working out our costing a lot easier, and we generally want a low cost of ownership. So we understand that this is gonna be very, very spiky, and we can't control how, like, at all how, much this is gonna be used because of the weird structure of our business is that our customers do not use our application. It's our customers' customers that use our application. We are one layer removed from anyone using our infrastructure. And so, yeah, we need this to be, like, much more consistent and generally to be quite cheap, let's be honest. Um, so ooh, suddenly that doesn't work anymore. Let's go. Did that work before? Okay, there we go. And so we're using durable objects. Was anyone here for Steve's talk or the previous talks? Okay, who hasn't heard of durable objects? Okay, cool. Oh, this is amazing. Look at this. So good. You know, if I'd have asked that a year ago, like everyone's hand would have gone out. This is sick. I'm very happy. So yeah, if you were in Natalie's talk earlier, she talked about why durable objects are awesome. Steve also mentioned why pay-per-use is awesome and why this like scales really well. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm just going to say durable objects can be anything you want them to be. They can be clients, they could be servers, they are computers, and they can also be PowerPoint slides, as this guy showed down here, which I thought was quite funny. I was so tempted to make this whole presentation in a durable object, but I didn't actually have time, but that would have been an absolute meme. Um, but yeah, definitely one for a future talk. Uh, Here's my little ode to the Agents SDK. So we use the Agents SDK to help with MCP servers. Cloudflare were one of the first people to release MCP servers that actually worked as remote, or to release infrastructure to help MCP servers work remotely. Up until then, people had been using standard IO servers, so they run untrusted code on their own computer, and then they interface with it through standard out, which is like fun and all, but we want to do ours remotely across the internet. So Cloudflare were like a really good option here, and the Agents SDK I think is an absolute work of art. I think there's definitely a thought about how I learned a lot about how I'm going to build libraries in the future. The code is so concise, it's so clean. I don't even use it sometimes. This is how weird it is. Like I actually just copy and paste some parts of it, the bits that work, the bits that I need, and I use them in my own code. Um, it's very much like a shad CN, if anyone's into front end libraries, way of doing things. And I think you can only do that if you have like amazing or impeccable system design, impeccable taste, and you make a library that does more with 200 lines of code than with 1,000 lines of code that I can write. And so the reason why, yeah, I like it to be light. It's light. It's easily hackable. We end up copy and pasting lots of it because let's be honest, Cloudflare are not gonna like this agent's SDK at the moment is very nascent. It's not gonna support all of our use cases. We want to build on it. We want to like We want to do stuff with it, but we want to do stuff now. And I don't really have time for stuff to get merged. I can talk to the people who are building it, but I don't really have time to get stuff merged. The fact that this is so concise and you can understand how it works and you can just copy and vibe away, that is insane. Like, I haven't seen another library that does this much with this little. So yeah, I'm kind of exposing my love affair with durable objects and actually the Agents SDK. So yeah, I would really recommend you check it out if you haven't seen it before. So this is the last slide on building MCP infrastructure, but MCP servers and clients were designed to be chained together. The client is the server is remote, and we do a bunch of stuff to basically just stick MCP on either side of our Unified Cloud API and run our registry that other people can access. MCP is designed to be recursive, so the client can be the server calling another client, calling another server that is also a client, but calling another client that calling another server that is also a client, calling another server that is also a client, all the way to the end of time. They're designed to do that so that you can encapsulate logic into each individual piece, which is cool, and we try and follow that. But importantly for us, and importantly for our enterprise customers, servers never store credentials. Clients are spun up per session. It's the magic of durable objects that we don't really have to care about that whole infra. We just spin a new one up when a new user wants a new server, and it just works. Yeah, it's pretty magic. It's pretty cool. And I think the Agents SDK just showing how it works is beautiful. So the last little section on like how we use this internally and sort of the end of our story is like we've learned a lot about AI in the last year and about AI integrations. Our internal tooling that I showed you at the beginning was built before MCP and before like models were good enough to do full agentic use case, like make decisions by themselves. We started with very basic DAG-like systems. We moved to more DAGs with loops, like more agentic systems, and now we move to more like MCP style systems where we fully separate the tasks from the intelligence, or from the decision tree intelligence, whatever you want to call it. It's like from the model. Separate the non-deterministic thing from the deterministic thing is kind of also a fun way of putting it. And with MCP, it gives you a nice framework of thinking about the tasks that you want to do, the tools, the interactions with the outside world, and the prompts, which are like your instructions of how to do those things. Not many MCP clients support prompts. So we end up turning our like stack chat, the thing at the beginning, into an MCP client that supports all of these things. And it's pretty fun. So this morning, like during the panel, we had a panel this morning that I teased that I would talk a little bit about like the behavioral change that we make inside the company to try and enable people to build features for themselves. So our solutions engineers, none of them were very into AI before they got these jobs. They were told they were joining an integration company, and the first day it was like, "How do you use AI?" And they were like, "What the fuck?" Um, but now they can actually build not only like AI features, they can ship entire remote servers themselves with the smallest wrapper you've ever seen around the Agents SDK. So this is all that is needed to yeah, to ship a worker and a durable object that works as an MCP tool that creates, well, first of all, works out what customer our ticket is related to, and then creates the ticket. And there's also a prompt section that works out how to extract the use case. So it's the whole flow. You extract the use case, work out the customer, create the tickets for that use case, and they automate as much of their work as possible. And we've really tried to push internally to try and make solutions engineers able to do this. And I think we're a lot faster as a result. So all of this classic authentication is managed, whatever. And we use these tools. They're free to use these in like Claude, Cursor, Goose, WinServe, like whatever the hell they want to use it in, because we control the tools. They can use whatever client they care about. Sweet. So our roadmap, like what we're getting for future, like MCP is still very new. AI integrations are still very new. We want to have the most comprehensive integration platform across all common interfaces. There's a new interface, if the Google interface, I take the mic quite a lot, but if the Google interface, if people use it, we'll support it. We'll support all standards. And we can do that because the tech is pretty solid underneath, and the standard is just a nice little veneer on top. The tools which are robust and actually work, this is like a big deal. Everyone spouts how many tools they have, but none of them fucking work. Like literally none of them work. You see an open API spec and there'll be like an unlabeled parameter in it that just says like key. Key for what? Like there is no way whatever API that's meant to use actually works. Like, no way, no way, like, no way. And if it's a create, you are completely screwed. Like if it's a get or a list, maybe it's like an undefined parameter, you can be fine. But if it's like a create, you're not creating the right thing there because the model will have no idea what that means. And so we want to make tools that actually work. And this is what I've been working on previously, which actually what I was going to demo here, but it's not quite finished yet. It's not finished cooking, is a planning model for calling tools. So we're making the best tools possible, and we're also going to make the best models call tools. And it's still in the works, but it does work, I promise. It just not in a state ready to release yet in a way that's like fanfareable. And then the last thing is maybe we'll allow you to self-host this. So if you build some sort of platform that needs data, like as a lot of people do, uh, it would be cool if you could get that data and you could have it all yourself. Like maybe self-host it in your own Cloudflare account, or like like in your own cloud, um, or we can dump it on Kubernetes for you. Like it's really really chill. We have that capability too, so we just need to work out whether people want it. Last thing is like we're hiring. We're probably going to be hiring, hopefully, for the first ever MCP engineer, which I think is kind of funny. Product manager, DevRel. If you know anyone who's interested in AI, point in my way. And yeah, we'll bring agents to work. And thank you very much for listening. Soon. I don't know if I have time for any questions. Maybe I have a minute if anyone has a question, or you can just come find me after. Go on.
Wait, what? How will pricing work and do we test this?
How does our pricing work, and have we been pen tested? Yeah, we have been pen tested. We've been audited twice, I think. Yeah, we're all good. I think there are reports on the website. You can go find them. Pricing, send us contact us. We are an enterprise platform at the moment, so don't be surprised that it is a big number. Yeah. Go on.
How do you figure out the context window issues? Was it a feeling or did you do testing?
Oh no, there's we're loads of testing. So it's really easy to run like needle in a haystack tests where yeah, if you have data that hasn't ever been put on the internet, which you probably do, like loads of internal company docs, you can just group them all together in like an infinite stream and then put something in the middle and then ask about it. It's quite straightforward to do. I would recommend everyone does it because yeah. And then you should also track your context window over time. So for every query we ever do, we track how much of the context window we're filling, and then you can work out if your degradation is due to poor prompt or whatever.
Do you reset it if you reach a certain point and you flag it?
So we actually don't like we're in the business of giving tools. Like what our customer does with those tools, it's their prerogative. I'm more thinking for our internal tools. Yeah. There was there was one more, but no, it's gone. Okay, cool. Thank you so much, guys. Hope you have a good rest of the day.